Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is so good to see you this morning, and we have a very exciting show. So I just first like to say hello to everyone. My name is Shirley Paul. I am a Brooklyn resident, a community leader, and attorney by trade. And I'm just excited to bring some really good information to you about what everyone can't stop talking about. So I'll hold off. Josh, introduce yourself to the lovely people.
Welcome, everyone, to HACTV. Good morning. It's a lovely Saturday morning. My name is Josh Pierre. You can call me Josue Pierre. I am a district leader and a community activist here in Flatbush, Brooklyn. And I'm happy to be here to discuss some of the important and pressing topics that are always brought to us by HACTV.
Yes. So we know HACTV brings the best of information to the community and especially to our community Haitian pour nous ka connaître tout ça qu'a fait, so we can know everything that's happening. And as a young Haitian American, I'm excited to be a part of this platform to bring information to our community with an added sense of confidence and trust, knowing it's from one of the sons and daughters of the community. So as we said, we have a very exciting topic today. So we know that right now, all everyone can think about, talk about is COVID. And especially because we're living a life that includes so many restrictions due to the pandemic. So we are looking forward to bringing back a sense of normalcy when we can go out and engage with each other. And we think we're one step closer to getting there because now they are vaccinating the population. So that's what we want to talk about today. We know you have a lot of questions and concerns. So do our families. So do we. So we are not going to do the talking. Rather, we have an expert, a doctor, an expertise in her field. Josh will introduce her, a beautiful sister from the island that is going to give us all the information we need, and we are going to drill her.
And I'm very, very happy to have her with us today because, Dr. Jennifer Charles is one of the creams of the crop when it comes to our community. She is the product of hardworking Haitian Americans, and she's achieved that education, and she's decided to commit herself to her community. So today she's here with us to discuss the COVID vaccine. Please welcome our good friend, Dr. Jennifer Charles. Doctor, welcome to TV.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Dr. Charles, it's so good to see you. It's a pleasure to have you on with us today. So I'm not sure if you were able to hear us while you were back in the green room.
I did.
Okay. So Josh and I are active in the community. We're handing out PPE supplies. We're meeting needs where there's food insecurity and just about everything that's happening as a result of the virus. But we also now know that there's a vaccine out. And so many people, including our family, are like, are you taking it? Are you not taking it? Should I take it? So we just want to ask you some questions, and we're going to appreciate your candidness. And we know that you have all the expertise to back up everything that you're saying. So we just have some questions with respect to making our community, putting them rather in a place to make an informed decision about whether or not they're going to be vaccinated.
But before we grill you on a number of questions, Dr. Jennifer Charles, can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I am a board certified anesthesiologist. I work in the city. I don't know if I can disclose where I work. I work at NYU, and I've been board certified for the past 5 years.
Okay. Wow, 5 years. I mean, I know everyone's looking at Dr. Charles, including me, and is like, wait, is she out of high school yet? So gone through the journey, and we know you put in work to get where you are and to be certified. That means she is at the top of her game. Sometimes when we look for to choose doctors, that's one of the things we look for. Can you just let us know, what does that mean? How does that distinguish you from someone who is not board certified?
Just means that I can practice basically independently on my own. That's the difference.
Okay.
I don't like to toot my own horn. I'm super humble.
No, it's not tooting your own horn. You worked for this, right? And oftentimes, especially in our community and especially as a Black woman, I'm an attorney. And sometimes, folks are like, hey, how come you didn't tell me? And it's not, I'm proud of it. But it's also helpful to share that experience. So one, it adds trusted confidence and people knowing coming to you, they can trust you, you know what's happening, and they can trust you just hearing what you're saying. And on top of that, you worked for that. I know they didn't give it to you free. So
no, I got you. Work hard.
Going into our topic, there's a history of mistrust when it comes to vaccinations. Doc, I'm sure you've heard some of the things that we heard growing up. Some of the things are right there in the history books. So we feel that the best way to counter that is to give people real knowledge, and for that real knowledge to come from somebody like you who's from the community, somebody we can trust that we know has our best interests at heart. So I guess the first question for me is basically, what is a vaccine so that people understand what it is that they're getting?
Okay, so there are different forms of vaccines. But the main goal of a vaccine in the end is to make sure that your immune system produces antibodies against a particular disease. And we'll talk about the flu vaccine, since that's kind of older, right? Basically, your body's introduced with an attenuated vaccine or attenuated virus. It's a virus that has kind of been deactivated, but your body recognizes it. It tries to fight it off. It produces antibodies and T cells that attack it. So the next time you encounter the virus, the real virus, your body already has antibodies in place that is able to basically eradicate it, so it really doesn't make you sick. So that's basically what a vaccine does. We could talk about the different types of vaccines that we have currently that people really, really don't talk about. And that includes the polio vaccine. I think everybody gets the polio vaccine. I think you both probably have had the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. Am I correct?
Yes.
You couldn't finish school if you didn't. They don't let you in if you don't have your immunization card.
I think it's so important to talk about the vaccines that we've already had, to know that most of you probably don't even know anyone that has had these diseases. You don't know anybody that's had polio. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. True.
Or measles, or mumps, or rubella, or HIV, or pertussis, but we all get vaccinated for these particular diseases, right? Mm-hmm. It's important to talk about this because we know that we've been vaccinated, and we also know that we don't know anybody that's been infected with these particular diseases, because the vaccines are very efficacious. At least these are very, very efficacious. And I don't know anybody that's died from these particular vaccines. Do you guys know anybody that's died from these vaccines?
I actually have not.
No, and I haven't heard anyone who's contracted any either polio or any of the number of diseases that you've named.
Okay. And, I'm glad that you brought up polio and the measles, et cetera, because there was a time when polio and the measles in particular were a massive plague. People didn't know how to deal with them, and the vaccines were the solution. So I think it's logical to assume that a vaccine would have eventually been the solution to this current epidemic. And said that, you basically helped us understand that some vaccines are deactivated forms of the virus. In this particular instance, the two vaccines that are out there, are they deactivated forms of the coronavirus?
No. So what's interesting about these vaccines, so I'll try to kill two birds with one stone, okay? So the old vaccines that have live proteins, and I don't know what's a better way to describe protein. Let's just say it's a structure, right? It's a structure that they kind of have to create outside of the body. And that kind of takes a very, very long time. You need a lot of equipment, you need a lot of space in order to produce the protein, and then kill it, deactivate it, and then put it in a form of vaccine in order to distribute it to the population. These vaccines, both Moderna and Pfizer, and many of the other ones that are going to come out, are mRNA vaccines. So I guess I'll just talk freely. I think it was around Christmas time, there was a family dinner, and everybody's talking about mRNA. Oh my God, it's going to change my DNA, and I could turn into, a different person or a different animal. And that's not the case. What the mRNA vaccine does is that it goes inside of the cell. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It goes inside of the cell. And you know, let me see if I can draw a diagram. I don't know if it'll be better for me to draw a diagram. Let me see. So this is a cell.
Diagrams. That's how, I'm an abstract thinker, so that'll take me there.
This is a very, very basic cell. So this is a cell.
Mm-hmm.
In the cell, you're going to have, this is called a cytoplasm.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if I'm getting too technical. And this is where we have
inside the cell, right?
So you see, you have your cytoplasm here, and then your DNA is stored inside of a nucleus. Mm-hmm. This structure is the nucleus. The vaccine is an mRNA vaccine, and it goes to the cytoplasm. It never goes inside of the nucleus, which is here. It never goes inside where the DNA is. So what the mRNA vaccine does inside of the cytoplasm is it produces a protein, right? So this is a very cool and cute vaccine. So not only is it cool because it produces the protein, that means that they don't have to spend a lot of time making it because your body becomes the factory. Your body now produces the protein. And I don't know if you guys have been listening, but there's something called the spike protein that the mRNA vaccine produces. The spike protein is a protein that is on COVID-19, okay? So when your body starts producing these spike proteins, it's foreign material again. So it starts to produce antibodies, and it also produces T lymphocytes that attack this spike protein that shouldn't be there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I just like to say, well, one, I definitely appreciate you drawing the diagram and letting us know, because that is a concern, because we do have a number of questions about the basic concerns that we've heard in the community. So we just want to also just emphasize, this is an opportunity for us to demystify a lot of those things that we've heard. So either we want folks to be equipped and be able to make an informed decision whether or not they're going to choose to be vaccinated. And we're going to get into some questions about whether or not that will eventually be a requirement. So I do like that you just showed that whole diagram, because I'm going to be honest. I know someone who took the vaccine and I was like, have you grown an extra arm yet?
No, so it doesn't go inside. So it doesn't go inside your DNA. It's the nucleus, which houses your DNA. That's your genetic material. Your genetic material is not going to change. What's going to happen is it is going to go inside of the cell, right? But it's going to stay outside, and it's going to help produce the spike protein so that your body is able to produce the antibodies, and it also produces the T lymphocytes that are going to attack this virus when it does come in. Okay. I was going to say something too. So I think, so misconceptions. Okay. I was talking to somebody yesterday about the vaccine, and we'll get straight to it. African Americans have suffered at the hands of Western medicine in terms of, I could talk about so much about this, medical experimentation.
Exactly.
We have increased number of African American people and Black people dying from COVID-19. I can break that down systematically. That can be because of significant comorbidities that affect African Americans, including diabetes, hypertension. It could also be something that people really don't like talking about and addressing, which is medical bias, right? What happens with medical bias is that physicians just don't listen to Black patients. I'm going to call a spade, right? We've also had different studies, the Tuskegee experiment, right? Where these are isolated cases of African Americans and Black people being subjugated, and they're being used experimentally to study a course of disease, even though there's medication that can eradicate it. Most recently, there was a study in the 1990s. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but Columbia actually enrolled 34 Black boys in a study to study a cardiac medication. And the way that they found these boys was by using their brothers who were incarcerated. Okay, so they intentionally went and found these families and paid them to enroll them in a study. And I want to talk about this because I'm hearing this as being a common reoccurring theme, that they're experimenting on Black people and they're going to come to the Black community and experiment on us. Everybody's getting this vaccine. This is not a study. White people are getting it. And not only are white people getting it, but they're going into Black and Hispanic communities and getting it. Black and Hispanic people do not want the vaccine, right? So we're missing out. We're going to die disproportionately, even more if we don't get the vaccine. Now, if this was a special study that said only Black, then I would kind of raise my eyebrow and be very, suspicious. But this is a vaccine that everybody can get and everybody should get.
So
that's going to make your point.
But
yeah,
Doc,
that is really good. Doc, I'm sorry. Can I ask a question? Are you actually administering the vaccination?
No, I haven't. But I did receive the vaccine. I received both doses. You can call it the first vaccine and the booster or both doses. I'm completely vaccinated. And I'll share my experience. The first dose, after maybe 12 hours, I'm not going to lie, my arm was very sore. I had a difficult time sleeping. The second time I was vaccinated, I felt nauseous and I was dizzy, but all my symptoms subsided after 24 hours.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say I wasn't sick. I can't. I'm not gonna lie.
When did you take the vaccination? Approximately how long ago?
I took the first dose in December and the second dose in January.
Okay. Thank you.
And I was actually happy to take
it. Is that because you wanted to protect yourself while you did?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I wanted to take the vaccine and be done and minimize. I have a daughter and possibly minimize any complications from actually being infected, right? Because we know 2 million people have died from COVID-19. That's a fact.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people.
Yes.
So, Dr. You said that there were 2 vaccines, right? So, is there a real difference between those 2 vaccines and we have options?
I don't feel like there's a real difference between the two. The efficacy rate, I think, is 95% for Pfizer and 94.1% for Moderna. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a different brand, Like, is there really a difference between Gucci and Louis? Not really.
You said 95% for Pfizer? Okay, I know which one I'm doing.
Yeah, 95% for Pfizer and 94.1% for Moderna.
And when we go and get those vaccines, do you have an option of picking which one, or this just like, this is what's here at the facility and this is what you're going to get?
So I work for NYU, and the Pfizer was being administered at Tisch, which is uptown, and the Moderna vaccine was being administered at the other hospital. So I didn't have. I guess I could have tried to get Moderna if I really wanted to, but I really didn't feel like there was a big difference. So.
And I guess my last question is, what can we expect to benefit from the vaccine? Is it simply that, hey, now that I'm vaccinated, I don't have to worry about this anymore, or are we still at a phase where the vaccine is helping us?
Can you repeat that again?
So what can we expect to be the benefits of the vaccine? Is it that now that I've been vaccinated, I don't have to worry about anything anymore, I can go about my business? Or is it that we're still at a phase where we're still trying to figure out how effective the vaccine will be in preventing all the symptoms that come with COVID-19?
So we know that both vaccines, when I say 95 and 94.1 efficacious, we know they're efficacious in reducing severe symptoms. Right? There is a decrease in transmission as well, but we don't know how well that is, or what's the exact percentage. And that's how come both studies where the CDC is recommending that you still wear your mask after being vaccinated, because you could still be infected and maybe you not have severe symptoms, but you could very well transmit your infection to somebody else who's not vaccinated.
What you're saying. Okay, so what is our overall objective here in New York State? Is it to get 100% of people vaccinated?
I think that's ultimately going to be the goal. It's interesting because somebody earlier, we spoke about children not being included in the clinical studies. And I believe that's because of there's so many different reasons how come they're not included in the study. One of them being is that they don't really typically have significant severe symptoms. Another reason is maybe because they are considered, they're adolescents, so we really don't want to subject them to something that we really don't know exactly how it is going to affect their growth and development. I think, though, in the end, the goal would be to get everyone vaccinated who wants to be vaccinated.
I have a question, doctors, because you just said the goal would be to get everyone who wants to be vaccinated. So as of now, it doesn't appear that there's going to be a mandate to have everyone vaccinated, because that's a concern that I hear often.
Okay, so that is definitely more of a political thing, I think, right now. For now, even for me, it wasn't mandated. It was completely voluntary to get the vaccine. I think that political parties and institutions are going to be a little hesitant right now, I would say, in mandating it, because it's still kind of early and still kind of premature to really mandate it, when we really don't know. Even though so far, I would say, if you really analyze it, both people in the Pfizer and Moderna trials were vaccinated 6 months before the general population. I'm included in the general population, right? Have been vaccinated. So we have a 6-month window where we could look at what's going on with those people that have been previously vaccinated. And so far, those people seem to be doing okay. I think eventually, I don't think it's far-fetched, right, that it's going to be mandated. I really don't. But I think right now it's a little premature to make it mandated.
So I do appreciate you telling us that there is a group in the trial that there's a look back period, because while a lot of this information is available, I have actually one of my neighbors who, she's like, I want to get it, but I want to wait until the summer because I want to see what happens to the folks that are being vaccinated in December and in January. So now at least I can share that information that, there is a window that we can back to.
Because you're looking at those previous people in the study, because they got vaccinated 6 months before us, right? So we can know what's going on with them. And I think it's, to be completely transparent, I think that's okay if you want to wait, right? I think it's absolutely okay if you want to wait to take the vaccine, because at the end of the day, it is your body. And if something were to happen to you, the government won't care. That's a fact. But at the same token, I am pro-vaccine, and I believe in medicine. And, if all my I have a lot of loved ones that work in the health field, right? Mm-hmm. I told my aunt, if it's offered to you, you better take it, because I don't want to hear creak, I don't want to hear crack about you being in the hospital if you get COVID. Because one thing's for sure is that I think she's about 62, 63. If she gets sick, she's probably going to be in the hospital. And what this vaccine does is help prevent these susceptible and more at-risk patient populations from being in the hospital.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Josh. Can I steal the doctor for one more question? I know we're getting ready to wrap up. So this is a two-part. One, given that there has been some trials going on with folks who have taken it, have you heard anything about any infections or bad side effects that have been a result of those participants of the trial? And then go ahead. And then I just have one final sub question to that. So
there's so many things that we can talk about when you say this. There's been some literature that's been pushed out there for Bell's palsy. That's one of the popular ones. I think 6 patients or 6 people who have gotten the vaccine have gotten Bell's palsy. That rate of Bell's palsy is actually the same as the general population. We do know about one doctor who did receive the vaccine and he did end up dying. However, there's no causality. You can't say that it's because he received the vaccine that he died. We know that he got a blood disorder, which is the specific blood disorder that he got was a decrease in platelet count. He's the only person that I know of now that has actually died may be very close to getting the actual vaccine. But still, with that being said, we don't know if it's a direct cause of getting the vaccine. We don't know that yet.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And my last question will be, so can we look forward to, if with more conversations like this to encourage the community, especially communities of colors, to get vaccinated, are we looking forward to maybe a mask-free summer, or when are we going to be able to get out and
No, I don't think it's going to be a mask-free summer up here in New York. I don't think so. I think hopefully by the summer, because right now, right, the people who are getting vaccinated are healthcare workers, teachers. It's not everybody. It's if you're 65 years old or older, and we know that there's talks about not even having enough vaccines right now, right? And the way the system is rolling out, we're in February now, so we're hoping by the summer we'll get everybody vaccinated. But I think masks are going to be a part of our daily life moving forward for a little while now, until we understand the transmission rate. And another thing to consider is the variants that are coming up as well.
Yes.
Right? We don't know how efficacious even though Pfizer, I think, is saying that their vaccine is efficacious against the new strains, we don't know if now in between the summertime there's going to be new strains. You know, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just being realistic, right? I think just get used to wearing masks and doing a lot of hand hygiene as much as possible, unfortunately.
So, Doc, you just mentioned new strains. I guess that would imply that if there are going to be new strains, that means there are going to be new variants of the vaccine, and it's going to become like the flu vaccine. We'll have to take it every fall or on a certain cycle.
It might be. It might be something that we have to take every year. Mm-hmm. I do believe that. Like I said, I think it's a little premature to say, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the COVID-19 vaccine will be similar to the flu vaccine. However, I think it's going to be more efficacious. We know that the flu vaccine has a maybe 50 to 60% efficacious rate, but at least with our current COVID-19, we know that it's 95 perhaps.
Okay. Well, Dr. Charles, thank you so much for being here on HAC TV with us. We will have a Creole version of today's topic on HAC Radio, which will air on February 14th at 6 p.m. Follow HAC on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more details.
Dr. Charles, thank you so much for coming here and giving us all this amazing information. We look forward to connecting with you on our next segment in Creole and in the future, just to continue to inform the community and keep doing the great work that you're doing, and you stay safe.
Thank you. You too, guys. Talk to you soon.
No problem. Everybody enjoy your Saturday.
Bye.
Every life has worth beyond measure.
Within each person is a flood of potential
waiting to be unleashed.
What if every child,
every woman,
and every man was able to imagine something new,
full of hope,
new dreams, and the ability to choose their own future? A new way of seeing the world,
the community,
themselves.
Pushing past the obstacles that once were. And when the world yells, you cannot.
We will keep whispering, yes, you can. Together we can make a difference.
Together we are stronger.
Able to move mountains and break the chains of poverty.
Haitian American Caucus, strengthening Haiti through
education,
health,
feeding programs.
micro enterprise.
We are Haiti. We are HAC.